Hi,
Hi.
welcome to Fika Time.
Welcome to Fika Time. I'm Ann-Sofi.
She is apparently, that's the rumor. I'm Levi.
Okay.
Welcome to podcast number 2 for Fika Time. We're excited. We spent a significant amount of time recently jotting down a lot of ideas for videos to make. But one of the things that we wanted to do with all of you is build what we call a pool of meaning, a common pool of meaning. So we already have our relationship, being married and having talks to, I don't know, maybe thousands of hours.
Like 30 minutes. Oh, yeah. No, that's what he said.
Yeah. Our first date was 7 hours long.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that. I did apologize for the length of it, but we did enjoy conversing.
Yeah.
But in our relationship, and we believe, like one of the principles of human relationships, and especially like marriage, is you're only as sick as your secrets. That's a personal thing. I learned that in recovery, but that also applies in marriage and in friendships and business at the nation state level and between a father and daughter.
All aspects of life.
Yeah, exactly. We're only as sick as our secrets. So that's a guiding principle for our relationship and all our relationships. So when we started dating, it was kind of had two objectives. One, what I had several. One was to like to have fun, to learn, and to leave her better than I found her. And so, like, I had dated in the years leading up to meeting Ann-Sofi. Whether or not we continued dating, that was more or less my like objective. Like, have fun, learn, and leave her better than I found her. So even if I didn't want to continue seeing her, or she didn't want to continue seeing me, we still benefited from the interaction. And so when I met her, it was basically the same thing. But then, like, stepping beyond that a little deeper, appropriately telling her all my secrets. I don't start with like something deep and dark in the first 10 seconds of the conversation. That's going to be too much.
You're not telling his team would start his secret on the first date.
That's true. It is the first minute of the second. No, I'm kidding. But basically, like, in building a relationship, and her and I, like, were very interested in how relationships work, and have done, especially I've done a ton of study in this. But we start at like a light level, and I'm fairly eclectic, so I do kind of go all over the place. And it's not that I don't have a focus; it is, but eclectic, like me being eclectic, what that means is that I don't have a dogged way of seeing things. I pull from many different sources of ideas. Like, on one level, I believe all truth is God's truth. So if I hear a nugget of truth from someone secular or Christian or wherever it comes from, if it's a homeless person or a rich person or whatever, it doesn't really matter to me as long as it works and it helps me get what I want and doesn't bother Josh's basically. And so the way that I've practiced and I've led in our relationship when we dated and continue to this day as best I can is to constantly be telling her my secrets. And so those secrets are like, can be light and fun and simple, like where are my dreams or something I want to eat today or a place I want to go or an adventure I want to go on. It could also be something that maybe I feel guilty about or ashamed of or that I don't want to tell her. Well, those are definitely things I want to tell her. And so the way that I've interacted with her and that we've interacted with each other, most people, they feel afraid of rejection in interactions and in relationships. They feel afraid of ostracism or not belonging. So what they do is they avoid the topics that come up in their mind during conversation. They go, I don't want to tell the person about that. They might reject me. So what I do is the opposite of that. If I sense within myself or my emotional thoughts something that I don't want to bring up, that is a signal I definitely need to transport that and bring that to the surface and put that card on the table, so to speak. And so when we were dating, I would follow the truth about the things that I wanted to tell her and about the things that I didn't want to tell her. It's only if I tell her the truth with kindness, and if she tells me the truth with kindness, that the option to stay in the relationship is real. So rejection is a part of life. And so instead of shying away from rejection, I need to definitely tell her the things that I would feel scared of being rejected for.
Yeah, because otherwise I rejected myself already. If I don't tell him,
Yeah.
I've decided that he can't be trusted with this truth about who I really am. So I'm going to reject a part of who I am in order to be with him. And that is not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for instance, like what just came to mind, that was an excellent point. So just keep saying great things like that and just be focused in every way. Well,
That's easy. That's how I am always.
yeah, exactly. I like to put a lot of pressure on her because it makes her better. Because I want to change her to be in my image. I'm kidding. No, that's not true.
You want me to be a diamond?
I'm a diamond or something. Moissanite. I'm moissanite. Or a,
But you're putting pressure on me so that I become a diamond.
yes, that's true. Pressure. Remember, guys, pressure always works.
Start shit on Nell's best friend, and I got a moissanite, so now I need to be the diamond.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, remember, with women, pressure always works.
If you want them to be stupid.
Yeah. don't use pressure on it's rare that a woman responds well to pressure. Right, at least with my wife responds well to is kindness and gentleness and being inviting.
Those things help my brain function better, and at a higher level, pressure starts my ability to think starts shrinking.
Yeah.
And especially my communication starts shrinking. If there's pressure, like, come on, say it, come on. Like,
oh, no.
I'm like, nope.
No thanks.
I'm like, I'm just going to stare at you until that's gone, and then I can say something.
Yeah, this is not going to work. And, like, ironically for me, pressure, like, if I'm getting pressured, I don't like that. But like if it's like a project or something like that, and I feel pressure, then I actually kind of like turn on to that. And anyways, the part of how we function. What we want to do is in Fika Time, we already have a relationship, but now we want a relationship with all of you. And we want to help bring, like, one of our principles is we don't get to keep what we don't give away. Like, an easier way to say it is if you don't use it, you lose it. But we believe that in some sense, that if we give it away, we get to keep it. Or if we teach it, we learn it better. Because we love learning and we like teaching and we like talking, obviously. And
What?
what? No way. Yeah, I've heard that once or twice in my life. Levi, you talk a lot. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and when I was looking for a husband, I went, I need someone who talks, because these introverted internal thinkers is not working for me. So, like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know when it's okay to communicate and when it's not, because I don't know what's going on. I have no clue in any aspect of what's happening. And then I found this.
Oh,
Him forever.
she honors me so much. There was a book. No, it wasn't Men Are From Mars. That's like Love and Respect. I think it was. And men need respect, and women need love. But really, what it is, both men and women need love and respect, or love and honor, but they need it in a different order, stereotypically or generous. So first, a woman needs to feel loved and then respected. But for a man, first a man needs to feel respected and then loved. So those needs are there, but they're just in a different order. So that's a nugget for you. So Merry Christmas. So what we want to do with many of you, is we want to build a common pool of meaning with you. So we want to build common language, common culture. So like culture are beliefs, actions, thoughts, norms, ways of solving problems and thinking about things that are unexpressed or unarticulated or implicit and explicit. So explicit would be like talking about it out loud. Implicit would be like belief systems and norms that people don't really talk about, but are just accepted and or like are assumed on the inside. So you've probably been in a conversation maybe with your family or friends where basically there are two conversations happening at the same time. There's an implicit conversation, which includes nonverbals like body language. Like right now, I use my hands and I look over at my wife. Hi, sweetie. And so about like 70 to 80 or even 90%, depending on the personality, like mine, comes across in nonverbals. Whereas about 10 to 20% comes across in verbals. And so what we want to do with you guys, which is what we've done and what I've been honored to do with many, many people in my life as a former teacher and professor, is there's a little lady still early in here. All the way, we do have, this is Fika Time. So I have what's left of my Americano.
I got some.
She has coffee in the shape of tea.
It's called caffeine, not
That's right.
coffee.
That's right. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus. And if you get the last one, I respect you more. So we want to build that common culture and in some sense like an identity, like a general identity with you guys, because there's 4 human needs: to live, love, learn, and leave a legacy. And then within that, there's one more need called belonging. And I'm sure you're familiar with it. But there's essentially 3 or 4 different levels of belonging. And so one need for belonging is to belong to yourself. So if people reject themselves, like if I reject myself, then for whatever reason, or I hate myself, I don't like myself, I don't belong to myself. I'm in some sense the first person that I need to learn to accept and love, appreciate, edify, and affirm, and whose feelings and thoughts I need to learn to validate. Whether or not they're right, it's not about that. It's about having a cohesive, accepting relationship with myself, where I believe I deserve love. I deserve, not in an entitled sense, but because God created me and God doesn't make mistakes, as far as I know. And so since God created me and I count the value of the one who created me, it means I'm just as valuable as God. Not because I said it, but because he said it, and I'm just agreeing with him. So
it's kind of arrogant saying that God is wrong, how important I am, when he's the one who said I was important in the first place, and I go, no, I'm not important. That is actually a form of arrogance.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, it is. Humility, we define humility, I think, as believing what God said about us.
It's believing the truth.
Yeah, believing what's true. And so that puts us in a position where we can learn. But I digress. So not to beat a dead horse, but we want to build this sense of belonging. So there's that personal sense of belonging, and that's what I call a private level. So no one else sees that, and no other person sees that. It's private, and I need to learn to function in that because God said so. No, I'm good, but because God is love. Then there's the semi-public. So there's private, and then there's public belonging. And semi-public belonging is between basically like me and a few close friends. So this isn't
me included.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. So this isn't for like many people, but if I share essentially a lot of my secrets or with my wife, almost all of my secrets with my wife, then that helps to develop at least I hope a sense of belonging. And so like we'll never share as many secrets with you as we would share with each other. We would never share with each other as many secrets as we would share with God, who invites me at least, to share all my secrets with him. Because that's the level of intimacy that he wants, not out of control, but out of kindness and affirmation and acceptance and, again, belonging. And then there's the private belonging, semi-public belonging, and then there's the public belonging. And that's where you guys come in. So that's a very real place of belonging. And I believe it's like sociology or psychology. The reason why people go to church, the Bible says, do not forsake the assembling of yourselves together. Why? Because it meets that need for public belonging, that public identity. Why do people go to like football games or baseball games?
Or have iPhones.
Well, how does that work out? What do you mean by that?
Well, people who have iPhones or Apple products are part of the club.
Right. Yeah.
They get a sense of belonging with anyone else who also has the same product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah, that's a good point, babe. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks for bringing it up, honey. I love you. See, you told me to only say important and awesome things. So
yeah, I also invite your
Yeah, I don't know if they exist, but I mean, my bad ideas would still be pretty good.
So probably still going to be.
They're like hitting 90% instead of 100.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's where we want to build with you guys. We want to build that, public belonging and or identity. Another definition for community. And we've already talked about that. But we love community. We love connecting with people. Like right now, we're in a Starbucks. Yesterday, you're in the same Starbucks, and we talked to a guy named David who does van life, travels between Utah, Colorado, Arizona. Is I think in his 60s, and
I think he turned 65 recently because he
retired and homeless for people who live in bricks and sticks. But I mean, I wouldn't consider him homeless in the same sense. We live in our van, but that's by choice, not because we can't afford it. We absolutely could afford to just go get like a nice apartment or something like that. We want to do the money, but all that aside, we connected with him and we talked about, like, practically interviewed him for, I don't know,
why
30 minutes, an hour, and that builds just a touch of community. And then today, like, we didn't talk to them today, but we came into the same Starbucks. We're in Flagstaff, Arizona, and there's a beautiful coffee shop on Route 66, sort of, I think, northeast of Flagstaff. Where we walk in and we go to set up, and there's David, and I mean, he's busy, he's doing his things. He has his earbuds in,
there we go.
and his massive, beautiful white beard, but there's that like tinge of connection, and where belonging helps people to feel at home, and that's what we want for you guys. Is Fika Time? We want Fika Time to represent home, belonging, and authenticity.
Yeah, seriousness, because Fika includes sweets,
Yes,
cookies, and other pastry type things.
yeah. We'll definitely need to. It'd be fun to have some like legit like Fika sweets like sometime.
At some point, we will have a Fika party, Fika Time.
That's true. It'll be feeking good. Don't tell your kids that. But anyways, thank you so much for your time today. And not that the video's over, but I just want to express our gratitude.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in.
We noticed some hours of watch time on our last videos. That's honestly a high honor, because like our love language, like, hey, like bringing out a secret is like my love language is quality time, or like another way to put it is undivided attention. So that's probably like my number one love language. And what about you?
I think it's probably quality time, very closely followed by, since getting married, I realized physical touch. Like,
yeah,
I just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, my hand just found him. I did not be aware of sending that signal that there it is, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yes, I did grow up with cats. I was well trained by my cat.
She loves cats, and I love to see cats die. No, that's not true. Not that. No, that's not true. Actually, I like cats. I just don't like them, and I want to not exist. That's it. No, I'm kidding. That's not true.
Actually,
cats are interesting. I don't know if I could say this in a video, but no, I'm not going to say that. That's a secret. You don't get to know that. No, cats are a bit temperamental, but they can be awesome if they act like dogs. No. Anyways,
I have introduced him to a Korean cat lady called Claire, who makes videos, and during the lockdowns, she would have her cats. She has like 11 cats now. I think she had like 9 cats at the time.
Korean lady.
Yes, Korean. And
she had so much fun.
She would set up different like obstacle courses for her cats. So fun to watch. Yeah. There's one of the cats now, she's just more like loggy and such for the cats. But there's one of the cats that's called Louie, and he is vicious when it comes to feeding.
Yeah.
And his wide spread big eyes, he's so fun. So I hooked my husband that cat. Yeah. I don't know about the other ones, but that one he has told me he likes.
Yeah, it's an amazing looking cat, and it's also kind of me. Like in the last video we watched, like the cat like grabbed a hold of like a brush or something like that.
Yeah,
she was
brushing him. Yeah,
and it was acting like a dog. Oh, like to pretend that I don't like cats, but I do think they should die. I'm kidding. That's not true. No, cats should live. I myself am a cat. I'm a lion, so I have lion personality.
I have removed some of his mane since
Yeah,
That
that's
video.
true. Yeah, she gave me a haircut. It was phenomenal. It was so much. It was great.
It was also good because the next day or so
Yeah.
we went to we went through. We were driving, but we went through 108 up to 113 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
It's almost coming to the heat, and then getting out of there once the sun set.
Yeah.
We are not going back to the heat.
No, we were
without
not
AC.
Well,
Without AC in that temperature for multiple hours is not a good idea.
it's not a good idea. No,
Don't do that.
No, we drove from Monterey, where it's really temperatures are amazing. And our plan is to drive from Monterey to Flagstaff, Arizona, where the temperatures are also relatively amazing.
Yeah, mid 80s is the highest it gets.
Yeah. And so we're driving, and basically, you hit congestion for maybe 2 or 3 hours in basically the early to mid afternoon, leaning towards late afternoon, just bumper to bumper, stop and go traffic on I-40 for hours.
Yeah.
And in plus 100-degree temperatures, finally, I needed to stop to fix something on our van, and the sun is just beating down on me, and it's super hot, and it's windy. And then when the wind is over the body's temperature, the wind feels hotter. So that exacerbated the situation. So basically struggled with some heat stroke, and I'm starting to feel faint. And so we crawl our way. I mean, we're driving on the highway. We go past all the traffic, but it's really hot. So we find our way to Needles, California, and stop in at a Shell station there. And we basically just literally spent the next couple hours recovering from that.
Yeah, because he pulled up because we also needed gas.
Yeah.
But before we got there, he was like, "Oh, let's just go inside and cool down for a bit." And he pulled up and stopped, and I was like, I started getting out of the car, and I'm like, "Do I need to roll up the window?" And I'm like, I can't. I was struggling. So I got inside. I went straight to the sink, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't pass out, but my ears were ringing because it was not good.
No, it's not good.
And then the super sweet, very helpful lady who works there came and helped me. She got us cold water, like a fan. And I was told that she doesn't lend anyone that fan, but she let me borrow it for the time with your ear. And you should not.
She was amazing.
I was like, and called him over, and then he was like, I want fan too.
Yeah, I did eventually want the van. It was relatively harrowing because I was literally we have to get out of this heat. Yeah. And so
and all our water was hot at that time.
Yeah, it was
burning my mouth to drink it type of. I'm like, this is not fun.
It was literally that hot. Because usually we keep our water in the shade, but it gets cooler. No, it was I think we checked. I think it's 109 or something like that. But
it was 100. No, it was 113 in Needles.
Oh,
it was 108 for the 2-3 hours that we were stuck in traffic at least, and it was going up and down. But I think the lowest was 108.
Yeah, it was not fun.
And then it got even hotter when we got down to Needles because it's kind of a dip. Because we were like, oh, let's go across the border. And we're like, we can't. We need to. I was seriously considering, just as we were stuck in traffic, by the way, I was considering getting out of our van and me walking off to the next car that clearly has AC and goes, can I just sit in your car for 10 minutes? We're bumper to bumper anyway. We're not going anywhere. I was like, that might be weird. I might scare some people if I try doing that.
I said I'd give her $100 if she did it. So I was just gonna bust her 100 times.
Yeah.
I had.
And I'm like, yeah, I already have all of your money because we're married. So
it
must mean something else.
Yeah, that's true. So no, it's been harrowing. We've really enjoyed our time here in Flagstaff.
Nice and cool.
And building a bit of community. And so we're overjoyed to view into a bit of this and a bit of our life.
Yeah.
And so this is part of trust building. And so what I've studied and what I believe is that there's in relationship, building trust requires a few different things. Speaking the truth. So a lot of people think of trust, like trusting someone else, as, oh, that person is trustworthy or not. And they think of it basically as it's an other thing. it's an outside problem. That's actually not true. So one of the things that Stephen R. Covey said was that if you think the problem is out there, that thought is the problem. And so when I'm thinking of trust, primarily the way I want to think of it as I'm speaking the truth kindly, or another way, as we've discussed, is I'm telling my secrets appropriately at the appropriate level, whether it's private, semi-public, or public. And that's what we practice. And so speaking the truth kindly. And then the second one is choosing to believe the other person wants good for you. Now, there are some people that it's clear because, like Jesus said, you'll know them by their fruits. It's clear from their fruits or how they behave that they're not trustworthy. And so I'll often start, or at least try to start, by trusting people that they want good for me. But if they demonstrate behavior that's not in my best interest, especially if I let them know, hey, like I feel uncomfortable about it, and they still continue in that behavior, okay, I know that I can't trust them. So that would be the semi-public part. So first is the private part. I speak the truth kindly. Second part is I believe that the other person, especially like in a marriage relationship, it's incumbent upon me. It's important that I believe she wants the best for me. And that's a huge reason that I married her, is because she wants good, not only for herself, but also for me and everyone else.
I've had to learn, like he just mentioned, how trusting, like I choose to believe that you are trustworthy, or that you are like good, and that you want good for me. And I needed to learn that is not always the case, because there are people who either on purpose or by lack of better awareness don't want good for other people. They don't, either they are being selfish, or they don't realize that their behavior is damaging to other people, that like breaking boundaries. I don't like when this happens, but this person still pushes past that. That is not a good idea. That's not good. That's not kind. That is damaging, and frankly, that's evil.
Yeah, they're like legitimately.
So there is a point where like I can choose to believe that you want good for me, but if your behavior constantly contradicts that, and when I tell you about it, you still don't adjust, because it's not that hard to go, okay, I don't like coffee, and then you keep bringing me coffee regardless of like, hey, I don't like this, and like you're like, here, drink it, drink it. Like that's evil. Like that's
it's not good.
And I needed to learn that some people act like that on purpose.
Yeah.
At that point, that is the time to distance yourself.
Yeah.
They are not supposed to be in my inner circle if that is their behavior.
If someone demonstrates that they're not trustworthy, that they clearly don't want the best for me, that's like, okay, well, that's okay. We don't need to live in the same place on the planet. I can go to another place, but most of the time. And if I can't, I start looking for an opportunity to do so, like if it's at a job, a bad roommate, or something to that effect. If you're in prison, well, I don't know what to do there. A lot, I guess.
Get out soon, or they get transferred.
Yeah. Building on those two principles, trust, in some sense, is a mixture of character and competence. So character, there's a category that we basically just talked about. That person wants the best for all, or I want the best for other people. And so I can trust myself, and I can trust her or other people who, have like chosen to respect my boundaries. So that's character. But then the second thing, which people like feel and sense, or like get it in their gut, but don't often talk about, is competence or skill. So part of the reason, if I'm not putting words in your mouth, part of the reason Ann-Sofi married me is because I want good for her. I do my best to leave her better than I found her. I do my best to speak the truth kindly. So those are like character things, but then I have the confidence, the articulateness, the self-awareness to be able to do that.
He is a highly competent man in a lot of different areas.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Here's $5. So it's not like a self-wag, but I've just tried to work very hard at becoming highly skilled at communicating, and communicating well, so that interactions can go well. And so it wasn't just that I wanted good for her with God's help, because I can't do anything without God. I wanted good for her, and then I had the skill to fulfill that. And so, like in my life, like being responsible with finances, that's a skill. leads, that goes with good character. Speaking, driving, etc., etc. Like, my wife trusts my driving. She trusts not only that I want good for her, she also trusts that I'm skilled enough to drive well, to keep her safe and secure.
When we got married and we went on our honeymoon, we went from like I-5 Reading area to the coast, which is very windy roads, and then getting towards the coast to get to the Redbirds. So the roads literally go like this. They're like almost, it's not quite roundabouts, but they kind of seem like they are.
They're pretty sharp.
They're sharp, and then right next to the edge of the road is a steep, like, downhill section, like a cliff, basically, in some sections. And as we were driving, a lot of people that I've observed would kind of skirt over this inner line if you're driving faster. They would, make sure to keep a little bit more distance from the edge, but that means they go into the other lane. And so if someone's coming around the corner, there will be a crash. But as we were driving, he was driving kind of fast, but he was managing to stay within the lines of our lane the whole time. And I was like, great, okay, I can relax. I got a good one. That was like, because I mean, we got married less than 24 hours after I first met him in Parsons. I was not aware. I didn't have a high awareness, but I had seen him like do some food delivery while we were video chatting. So I had seen him not get in accidents while multitasking. So that's an indicator. Yeah, that's an indicator of his competence.
Yeah, and so I just use that as an example. So speaking the truth kindly.
That the other person wants good for us.
That's right. So speaking the truth kindly, believing that the other person wants good for us, and making sure that I want the best for people, not what I think is best for them, but what is actually best for them, basically, relative to the kind of person they are. There are a lot of differences. There are thousands of differences between people.
And we might go into that in the future video, so stay tuned.
Yeah. And then the third, basically being the competence to carry it out. So character and competence. And so why are we bringing that up? We're bringing that up because these are elements of healthy and functional relationship that we not only have built with each other, but that we also want to build with you, because we want you to trust us. And so we want to invite you into that and invite you to belong in our Fika Time community.
Yeah.
And
feel free to comment and let us know.
Absolutely.
Stories or ideas or thoughts.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your stories and comments and thoughts on this way of thinking and believing and doing. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up here. For those of you who are still with us, if you're still with us, thank you for watching all the way to the end.
Yep.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Please share the show with anyone you think would value it, because we'd really like to grow this audience and grow this community. We think God's given us something that we can give to other people, and praise God for it. So again, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time. 안녕히 계세요.